Hey there, Titans, and welcome back to another Titan Academy video. Today we'll be talking about some of the advanced mapping options that you have for your push integration. First, I'll show you how you can push a custom concatenated text to Salesforce. After that, I'll show you how you can conditionally push different data to a particular field in Salesforce depending on how your end user interacts with your project. After that, I'll show you some of the system values that you can push to Salesforce, such as the current day, the current date time, or just the current time. And finally, I'll show you some advanced mapping settings and how you can use them. Let's get started. So I've already got a form set up here, just creates a contact in Salesforce. Let's head over to the integration. We'll take a look. I'm creating a contact. My mapping is already set up. And if you take a look, I've already set some of this up, but we'll go over it together. We have here a field in Salesforce called contact description. And what I want to do is send a concatenated text with some of the data from my form, along with some static data to Salesforce. In order to do that, all I have to do here in the mapping is just search for custom. And once I do, I'll have this gear icon that I can click on. And as you can see here, I've already set this up, but it's very simple we can write any kind of static text that we'd like, along with fields from our project over here. And we can just put those wherever we like. So for example, if I take out first name here, and let's do last name, comma, first name, for example. All right. Now this will end up in that field in Salesforce. So this is a nice way that I can concatenate static text with fields from my project. Let's take a look at how this works. So I'll apply, save. Let's fill in my form. Say Jared, painter, and we'll just give it a random email here, and I'll submit. And now let's head over to my integration log so we can see the new contact that we created. And as you can see here, we've got our name and our email. And if we scroll down to the description, we can see that concatenated text of that static text along with some of the fields from our project right over here. All right, the next thing I want to take a look at is, let's head over to mapped. We're going to look at the conditional settings for a conditional mapping. And what this allows me to do, again, you would just write in conditional here and head over to the gear icon. And this allows me to conditionally push different data to a particular field in Salesforce, depending on either my end user interaction or some value on my form. So in this case, I have a checkbox that I'm saying if the checkbox is checked or if it's marked true, then use the actual email field from my form. Otherwise, use a static generic email that I've put here. Of course, I can also just use any other value from my form. In this case, I've decided to just put some generic email here. And based on the end user's behavior, we will end up with a different value in the email field in Salesforce. So let's take a look at that as well. And we'll refresh over here. And here we'll do, and let's do testing at testing.com. And this time we'll first do it without checking it. So let's just submit. And since we didn't check it, we expect that in Salesforce, we're going to end up with a generic email, that static email that I had written in, and not what the end user filled out in the form. And yep, that's exactly what we get here. So that's excellent. Now let's head over and we'll check the tick box. And now if we head over to Salesforce, let's see the new, oh, sorry, we got a duplicate. So let's just make sure this is a bit different. All right, we'll refresh. Here's our new contact. And as you can see, we do actually get the email that the end user put in, and that's because he's checked the box. So that conditional mapping allows you to have different results depending on whether it's your end user or any other kind of data that you have in your form that meets the condition. So let's head back over here. We'll move on to the system values that we want to be able to push to Salesforce. So we're talking about a few different ones. One is today. This will push the current date to Salesforce at the time that the end user actually clicks the button or runs the integration. We also have time, which will push the current time to Salesforce, as of when the button is pushed. And we also have now, and this would be the date time. So today's date along with the time pushed to Salesforce, and that's a great way to track when the end user ran the integration. The final thing I want to take a look at is some of the advanced mapping, which you can find here next to any field that you've mapped, the gear icon. If you click on it, you'll see a number of options. We'll run through the different options, and then we'll just show one demonstration of how bulk mode works. All right, so we have a few options here. For example, if your original value is empty, then you can decide to replace this with some other generic value. So for example, if they don't put in a first name, you can create some generic first name or whatever it might be. You could decide not to use this field at all for your integration. You can say, I don't want to use this for an update. So if I'm running an update for a contact, then it will actually not use this value for that update, and it would only use it if it was creating a contact. Same thing for create. So these can be useful if you're trying to do some kind of upsert, and you want to make sure that if you're using the upsert feature, that it actually updates or fills in that field in the correct time. You also have use null if empty, and this will make sure that even if the end user doesn't fill something in, it won't run over the field in Salesforce, and that can protect existing data in Salesforce. You also have a couple of options here related to rich text and other kinds of formatting where you can make sure that the data is coming into Salesforce in the right format that you'd like. And finally, you have bulk mode, and this will allow you to use comma-separated values to create multiple records in Salesforce. So let me just show you a quick example of bulk mode. We'll apply that, and I'll save, and let's just refresh, and we'll just fill in the last name, but let's do this, red 1, green 2, and yellow 3. And we'll submit this. And now notice, if we head over to our integration logs, that this actually created 3 separate contacts in Salesforce based on those comma-separated values. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with these advanced options. Hopefully you'll utilize them. And that's how it's done.